Ladies and gentlemen, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Republic of the Philippines, Commander-in-Chief Armed Forces of the Philippines. We shall have the arrival honors.
Tanghal! To! No, to. To. Mga pinuno baba. To. Dalaw. Kalis.
The audience may be seated.
Baba! To! Mahal na Pangulo, handa na po ang talupad pandangal upang libutin. pinuno, tangal. Ta. Mga pinuno, baba. Ta. Dadala. Alis. Baba! Ta! Mahal na Pangulo, tapos na po ang parangal. Mga kasama, ipinapaabot ng ating panauhing pandangal, Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Republika ng Pilipinas. Salamat sa parangal na iginawad natin sa kanya ngayong hapon. Mga pinuno, baba. Ta. Mga pinuno, dadala. Alis. Pangkat! Pakanan! Pinuno, pasulong pit, pakanan.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Rodrigo Duterte of the Philippines.
Sa piling mo, di ko mawawala ang korupsyon. Tayo na, Pilipinas, tayo na magbago. Hawak kamay tayo para sa pagkasenso. Ikaw at ako, tayong lahat kay Rodrigo Duterte, para sa tunay na pagbabago.
Everyone, please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all to the 81st Armed Forces of the Philippines Anniversary Celebration with this year's anniversary theme, AFP at 81, Conquering Challenges, Harnessing Change. Looking Forces of the Philippines was formally organized during the Commonwealth era through the National Defense Act of 1935. During the Philippine Commonwealth period, President Manuel Luis Quezon, the first president of the Commonwealth, Philippine Army to Armed Forces of the Philippines on December 21, 1935, in accordance with the National Defense Act of 1935. Thus, December 21 of every year is designated as the AFP Day.
We shall begin with the ceremony. You have just heard the attention call, which signals the entry of the troops.
The grandstand, you're witnessing the entry colors, the Philippine national flag with the colors of the major service commands and the General Headquarters Armed Forces of the Philippines being carried by the cadets from the Philippine Military Academy, while the AFP mast colors are being carried by members of the Philippine Marine Corps. From both sides of the grandstand, you are also witnessing the entry of the troops for the parade and review. It is a division size of troops composed of 2 brigades coming from the 3 branches of service, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, and the General Headquarters. To your left are the contingents in their gala uniform, while to your right are the contingents in their battle dress uniform. The 1st Brigade in their gala uniform consists of the ceremonial contingent, the Air Force, the Security and Escort Battalion of the Army, General Headquarters and Headquarters Service Command, and the cadets from the Philippine Military Academy. The 2nd Brigade, in their battle dress uniform, is comprised of the Army's Battalion of Excellence from the 7th Infantry Division, the Special Operations Command, members of the Marine Corps, Special Operations Wing of the Philippine Air Force, and the Army's Reservist Battalion.
Over the years, as the global and national socio-political environment confronting our nation evolves and in the process brings new challenges, the armed forces has devoted its energy in transforming itself, holding fast to still relevant traditions while shedding off those that need reform. The AFP was once a force for independence against foreign powers and crusaders sovereign people, but now is a vanguard for security, bringing peace to Filipino communities across the archipelago and paving the way for an environment conducive to unbridled prosperity. The AFP has been the Filipino people's staunchest defender and protecting from any threat, guided by the light of justice and law. On this occasion, the armed forces reassures the Filipino people of its unwavering commitment to the mission to ensure peace and foster nation building with its internal peace and security plan bayanihan and the thrust on the transformation roadmap of a professional, capable, and responsive armed forces that is a source of national pride.
These troops, with their utmost commitment and dedication, are always present to extend their services for the Filipino nation and its people. They commit themselves firmly in implementing the ideals being espoused by the and the Armed Forces of the Philippines Transformation Roadmap. Anytime, anywhere, and whatever the situation calls for, the foot soldier, the airman, the sailor, and the marine will be there to serve in the spirit of cooperation, thus bringing progress and development in the entire archipelago. As we commemorate the AFP's 81st founding anniversary, each member of your armed forces beams with pride and joy over the gains and accomplishments we have attained for the year in our service to our country. Is a representation of the 130,000 strong members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. AP
Go!
conquering challenges, harnessing change.
Sampanaw! Ho! Baba!
Group commander for this ceremony is Major General Domingo B. Palisok Jr., Commander, 3rd Air Division, Philippine Air Force.
Everyone is requested to rise by the Most Reverend Bishop Leopoldo S. Tumulak, Doctor of Divinity, Military Ordinariate of the Philippines.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. An ever-loving Father, we look at the Commander-in-Chief, our President, Rodrigo Duterte, as Father of the nation. For this, we ask from you and for him the grace that he will remain so a compassionate, dedicated father of every Filipino. Finally, Almighty Father, mindful of the sacrifices waged by your soldiers for our liberty and our security, we ask you as members of the Filipino Armed Forces, powerful defender and perpetual provider, as they work for
To formally welcome our distinguished guest on this occasion is the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Aguinaldo.
Major General Palisok, please give the troops tikas pahinga.
Tika! No. Tikas. Pahinga.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Public Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Former President Fidel B. Ramos, who is also a former Chief of Staff. Former President Gloria Manuel Arroyo, and Congresswoman of Pampanga. Secretary of National Defense is Edita. Secretary Jorge Mojenes C. Esperon Jr., the National Security Advisor, and also a former Chief of Staff, AP. Most Reverend Bishop Leopoldo S. Tumulak, the Military Bishop and Military Ordinariate of the Philippines. Former Senate President and Secretary of National Defense, Senator Juan Ponce Enrile. Former Your Excellencies, Corps, Senate present, House of Representatives, Executive, Police Director, the Deputy Staff, representing the Chief PNP and other PNP, Commodore L. the Deputy Commander Philippine Coast Guard and other PNP staff, Lieutenant General Miranda, the Vice Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, Mrs. Miranda, Lieutenant General Salvador Jr., officers from the Department of National Defense. I recognize the Chiefs of Staff AP are with us today. Using Manuel Bautista, the Director of the Justice. Jr., Ambassador Benjamin Defensor Jr., Ambassador Generoso Senga, Ambassador General Junior DCAE Riveri. Our major service commanders, Lieutenant General Edgar R. Paliorina, of Philippine Force, and his Philippine Navy, all our wide area commander, recipient Medal of Valor, or our Valor or they, thank you. Our staunch support as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.